While the game of football consists of one sphere, the world of football consists of two, club and country, and rarely do these two spheres come together outside the realms of a game of FIFA on the Xbox or PlayStation. That said, once in a blue moon, these figures do happen, and when they do, they can make for some pretty interesting stories. Take, for instance, the mighty Brazilian national team with 9 Copa Americas and 5 World Cups to their name. Brazil have humble beginnings, with their first game being played against the visiting Exeter City Football Club, a team that only recently achieved promotion to England's 3rd division. Brazil didn't waste any time getting their first victory, winning the game 2-0. During their tour of South America to promote the game of football, Exeter City Football Club also faced the Argentinian national team, where they played out a goalless draw. To mark the centenary of the game 100 years later, Exeter City would face a representative Brazilian side made up of former professionals and youth players. This time, however, they left Brazil with a 3-1 victory. As you can probably imagine, sometimes hybrid football games have been more grounded in politics than football. On the 29th of August, a representative Nigerian side arrived in Liverpool following a 2-week boat ride from Lagos on a tour that would pit them against various amateur sides in the UK. Some have commented that the tour was more to do with colonial era propaganda than it was football, a means to show the Nigerians' Britishness off to the public. The Nigerian side were nonetheless well treated during their stay and welcomed by crowds and communities alike. Their first game against the Marine Crosby FC was played to a large crowd of 6,000 spectators, and to the surprise of the home supporters, all but one of the squad opted to play barefoot, with nothing other than bandages to keep their feet held wrapped together. During their month-long tour, the Nigerian team won 2, drew 2 and lost 5 of their matches. The tour opened the gateway for Nigerian players moving to the UK and signing professional contracts with clubs there. Nigeria's tour of the UK certainly wasn't the only game with colonial ties either, as in 2002 Porto FC played the Angolan national team to celebrate the 50th anniversary of their stadium, the Estadio das Antas, the Portuguese coming out of the contest as 2-1 victors. While friendly in name and supposed spirit, these games have sometimes proved anything but. In 2008, the Chinese men's national Olympic football team embarked on a tour of England as preparation for the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Here they were to face a plucky QPR side in a training game that would go on to have dire consequences.
Individual animosities were being pursued off the ball and behind referee Dermot Gallagher's back, and eventually one of the Chinese players, who are here as Chelsea's guests, decided he was having no more of it. It was the cue for the sort of mass brawl more usually associated with rowdy pubs at kicking out time. As Chinese television reported, as many as 30 people got involved, as some of those on the sidelines waded in.
Kung Fu kicks a Chinese player unconscious for 5 minutes, as well as another with a broken jaw. A total of 7 Chinese team members landed themselves home on an early flight because of their conduct. And it wasn't just the players at it either, as QPR's assistant manager at the time, Richard Hill, was arrested shortly after this incident on suspicion of causing actual bodily harm to a Chinese player. What's perhaps even more remarkable though is the fact Joey Barton had yet to start playing for QPR at the time. Hybrid friendlies often prepare a national team for an upcoming tournament in a specific geographical area, but they can also mark big events such as the 1999 encounter between Brazil and Barcelona, which marked the centenary of Barcelona Football Club. The game, which saw goals come from Ronaldo and Rivaldo, finished 2 apiece. Brazil has a long history of playing friendlies against club sides, their most recent coming in 2006 with an 8-0 thrashing of Swiss side Luzern. It featured masterclasses from Ronaldinho, Ronaldo and Kaká, and it's well worth the watch. I've included the highlights in the description below. Brazil's absolute destruction of FC Luzern is certainly not the only David versus Goliath friendly that's taken place between an international juggernaut and a comparatively lowly club side. As preparation for the 1988 European Championships, England faced 7th tier amateur side Aylesbury United in a game that even some England players could scarcely believe was happening.
Did I read that England are playing Kidderminster United or something as part of your preparation for this?
No.
I thought you were playing a little club side, I heard, just to get yourself in the swing of things.
I could imagine something like that being arranged.
Bobby Gould's brother or something like that.
No, not heard that one, though.
No.
At the time, the Aylesbury United team, which had featured teachers, postmen and taxi drivers, were just coming back from their summer break, meaning they hadn't played football in over 4 weeks. And now they were expected to play against a full-strength England team. 6,000 eager fans showed up for the match to witness a 7-0 victory for England. This game may not have proved to be the best warm-up, as England would go on to lose every single one of their games at Euro 98. Why England would choose to play such a bizarre fixture remains somewhat unclear to this day, although there have been some speculation that it was due to Aylesbury United having one of the best pitches in the non-leagues at the time. These days, Aylesbury United find themselves in less than ideal financial footing, evicted in 2006 from the Buckingham Road ground where they hosted England all those years ago. Some lesser known but still amusing matchups have taken place over the years, such as the 2012 encounter between Oman and Wigan, which celebrated the goalkeeper Al Habsi, who played a half for both his national and club side. And while, as far as I can tell, only one Omani newspaper and one very low quality YouTube highlight reel exists of the game, there is one game that got even less fanfare. This final friendly that I'll be covering is, in my opinion, the most interesting of the lot. Our final game involves the tiny island nation of Montserrat.
Mr. and Mrs. Allen is also the local post office. Their soft accents are typical of Montserrat and might easily be confused with the lilt in parts of West Cork. Now, how did the family come to Montserrat, Mr. Allen?
Well, the Irish people came to Montserrat on account of Cromwell, where it was exile. We heard they had some fighting there, and the Irish people came and it was inside. So they was sent out of the island. So and we are some of the old descendant.
Montserrat has not had a great history as a footballing nation, and by 2002 they had found themselves at the very bottom of the FIFA World Rankings. One spot above them, in 202nd place, sat Bhutan, and it is them who they played at the same time the 2002 World Cup final happened 2,000 miles away in Yokohama between Brazil and Germany. The documentary The Other Final records their experience in Bhutan and their struggle at the bottom of the FIFA World Rankings. While I won't spoil the result, I would recommend everyone to give it a watch. Skip forward to 2012 and Montserrat were still ranked among the lower reaches of the FIFA World Rankings and were struggling with the hole left behind following the huge outward migration in the wake of the 1995 Soufriere Hills volcano eruption, which has left large swathes of the Caribbean island, including its former capital Plymouth, uninhabitable to this day. As a consequence of the eruption, 2/3 of the island emigrated, leaving less than 1,200 people by 1997, and compare this to the 13,000 that were living on the island in 1995. And while the population has since increased back to 6,000, opportunities to play football were increasingly rare for the small island nation. Naturally, when the rare opportunity to play a game presented itself, Montserrat took it with both hands. Their opponents? The UK's Network Rail. The amateur side made up of the rail services employees even took a 4-0 lead in the game. However, thanks to the Islanders' comparatively better fitness levels, they managed to crawl back a 4-all draw. These days, Montserrat football is definitely on the up. They narrowly missed out on qualification to the 2018 Gold Cup, and more recently they did very well in FIFA World Cup 2022 qualification, just missing out on progression to round 2. The team are currently captained by Lyle Taylor of Nottingham Forest and are regularly climbing up the FIFA World Rankings. While these friendlies may have not been anywhere near as reported on as, say, the World Cup or Premier League, They offer us a rare glimpse into games that would normally only be possible in the realms of video games. So, what notable hybrid friendlies did I miss? Please let me know in the comments, and as always, I'll catch you on the flip side.